started. So obviously I've given you your title, but can you explain to the people watching what you do for a business?
There's three strands to my business, Nigel. The first one, the main thing that I do is I help people overcome anxiety. That's what it comes down to. I don't help people manage symptoms of anxiety. I don't believe in that. I don't help people learn to live with anxiety. People who are feeling anxious, people who are experiencing panic attacks, we make the anxiety go away. We make the panic attacks go away. Most people who come to me in that sense come to me as private clients. The second thing that I do, I'm a general coach. In this sense, it's not generally people coming to me directly. This is companies who hire me and then they send their senior managers to me for coaching. Sometimes we have an agenda for that. It's about improving communications, but most of the time it's just general developmental stuff like helping people find their blind spots, help them become better at doing their jobs. And the third thing, which I don't do so much of these days, but I love it when I do, is leadership training. Again, this tends to be for large companies. It's not one-off workshops. We tend to do 6-month programs. So they'll send me generally 12 to 15 senior managers, and we spend some time together, helping them to become better at what they're already good at.
That's fantastic. I mean, I suppose some people watching this are thinking, well, why would business leaders and managers need coaching? But I think what we all do is we all kind of forget that these people are still human, like us, and none of us are perfect. So you being able to offer that support and someone to talk to as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really helps to have an independent person who's not part of the business. So they're free to tell me anything that they want to. And you know,
there's some right stories.
What also happens, Nigel, is the further people go up the hierarchy, there's less people that they can talk to.
Yes.
So it's having that independent sounding board in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I suppose it's because when you are a leader or you're a manager or you're in charge of people, you've almost got, and I think a lot of it's to do with the way that the world is anyway, this kind of masculine kind of, I've arrived, therefore I should have all the answers. If I haven't got all the answers, then I'm failing, because that's the first thing you're thinking, why haven't, so really, really, really good. And, definitely be beneficial for, I mean, I can think of a very few people who probably would have needed you in previous employment, but another story for another day. So what inspired you to start the business? Why this? Why coaching? Why stress and anxiety? What was it?
It was from my own experiences. I struggled a lot with anxiety and panic attacks. I was quite senior in my previous employment. I used to work in IT. I was a software developer, worked my way up to being technical director for an online retail company. And I say out of the blue, but it kind of wasn't out of the blue, but I didn't see it building up. I started experiencing extreme stress and really bad panic attacks that I struggled with for quite a few years. In the end, I had to leave that career. I had to get away from it. It was, probably to say it was killing me is not an over exaggeration. So I had to walk away from it. And so there's two reasons why this business. One is I help myself to get over this, which you can do. It takes a long time and it takes a lot of research and reading. And I took a lot of qualifications in different therapies to learn how to help myself. And while I was doing that, I found I was quite good at helping other people. And when I was going through this, Nigel, and a lot of people experience this, I thought I was the only person that was experiencing this. Yeah. I thought I was the only person who was quite senior in business who was experiencing these panic attacks. Yeah. And I felt very isolated. But what I found out was it's not uncommon. It really isn't. It's just as common at the senior level in business as it is with anybody else. One of the things that I always say is that anxiety doesn't discriminate. No. It doesn't matter if you're the janitor or the chairman of the board, you are just as likely to be affected. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, the inspiration was to help people who were in a similar situation to what I'd been in.
I mean, obviously stress, anxiety, pressure. I mean, are you able to kind of share with us how that kind of manifested itself in your life? I mean, is it obviously nothing too personal, but is there any kind of, because some people might be sitting there thinking, stress, what's that all about? Not realizing that they probably are a little bit stressed anyway. But, how did it manifest itself? How did you kind of know that, hold on a second, I'm under, a lot of kind of weird pressure here? Is there any kind of pointers?
The way it manifested for me, it came on very suddenly. Was I was working from home. There was nobody else at home. I'd got to give a bit of context on this. We'd been starting a new business that I'd been working on for about 2 years. I'd been getting up at 5:15 in the morning, sitting at my desk, and I was there still at 6 o'clock at night. Over a 2-year period, I didn't take any holidays. Literally, I didn't take any holidays. I worked bank holidays. I worked all the time. My dad died in the middle of this very unexpectedly, and I had 2 children at home under the age of 4. So all of that, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I thought that was okay. I thought that was just what you do, but I didn't have any way to kind of handle the stress.
Yeah.
I was sitting at home one day, all alone, and I started to feel a little bit unwell. And by a little bit unwell, just something generally not very good. Then I started to feel dizzy. The more I thought about this, then I started to feel a lot of tightness in my arms. I was feeling a lot of tightness and pain in my chest. And you can probably imagine what was going through my mind at that point. So I'm thinking, I need to do something here. So the phone was over there. I got up to go and get the phone, and I collapsed on the floor. I eventually got to the phone. I dialed 999, and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. It took probably 10 minutes for that ambulance to arrive. And in the whole of that time, are you a parent, Nigel?
I'm a parent of 2 elder children. Yes,
Okay.
well, they're adults now, really. But, yeah.
But you'll probably relate to this. As I was lying on that floor, the only thought that went through my head was, who's going to tell my children their dad's dead? Because I was convinced I would not be alive by the time the ambulance arrived.
Bloody hell.
So what I found out afterwards was I wasn't having a heart attack. I was having a panic attack. Because that's how panic attacks manifest for a lot of people. The symptoms to a heart attack and panic attack are very, very similar. What was really scary for me is that no one ever explained to me that was what was happening. I had to figure that out for myself.
Yeah.
I spent the next 2 years in and out of hospital, having every test that you can have. I spent days in hospital sometimes because, and this is what panic attacks can do to people.
Good grief.
Yeah, and for people who haven't experienced it, they probably don't know that. That's quite extreme. But for a lot of people, the symptoms of anxiety, it's just a constant feeling of dread. Yeah. Getting up and not wanting to go to work, not understanding why, waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to shut their mind down, just a general feeling of unease, a general feeling of something's not right.
Because is it right that the body will produce a certain chemical when you are in that kind of fight or flight mode? I mean, is that?
Yeah, that's when we go into fight or flight mode, the body releases about 30 chemicals into the body.
Okay.
A lot of the most significant ones are adrenaline and cortisol. And these are great. I mean, this is designed to save your life, and it's really good because when you're in a physically dangerous situation, you need to go into that fight or flight.
Yeah, of course.
Part of the problem is, though, Nigel, what causes people stress in the 21st century is very different to what caused people stress when our bodies evolved this fight or flight.
Yeah.
And you've probably heard the classic way of explaining it. The fight or flight is about when we were cavemen and cavewomen. If there was a saber-toothed tiger wanting to have us for dinner, we've got 2 real options. One, we can run away, or the second is we can stand and fight it. Yeah. But what's supposed to happen is very quickly that danger goes away and we go back to the state that's called homeostasis.
Yeah.
And all of those chemicals go out of our body.
Yeah.
The things that cause people stress in the 21st century, certainly where I live, are not saber-toothed tigers.
Of course. Well,
things that cause people stress are work, the economy, everything that's going on in the world. And most of these things don't have endpoints. They don't go away.
Of course.
While human beings can cope with massive amounts of stress for a short period of time, what is dangerous is low-level stress that's there for a long time.
Yeah, which is what we've just had, hasn't it? Really, if you think about it. Yeah.
That's what we have. That's what most people live with every day of their life.
Yeah.
And if we don't do something about it, that can build up. And when it does, we just get to this stage. Panic attacks happen because your body doesn't know how to cope anymore.
Wow. So, I mean, we were just having obviously 2 years of lockdown, which was completely stressful for so many people.
Yeah.
I would imagine there's a lot of people right now who are anxious, stressed. The economy, like you say, gas bills, energy bills, all that stuff. It really is a constant thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose, it's people like you who, we need to try and reach out to. And, so if you've got assets or online resources that people can tap into to just kind of pick up a few techniques to kind of help them along the way, it's going to really be beneficial. Wow.
I post a lot on my Facebook page, and I usually post in videos because I just like that as a method of communication. There's an archive of them on my website. I have
fantastic!
I have a mailing list so that people don't have to keep checking if I uploaded anything else. So I post out to people when I've posted stuff. So yeah, there's stuff out there.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, at the end, what I want you to do, or when we finish, is maybe go back to the video, drop all your links in the comments.
Yeah.
So anyone who does want to reach out to you, and I'm talking to all of you guys right now who are watching. You haven't got to live with stress and anxiety. You can, look at ways to reduce it, remove it. I think one of the key things is actually speaking to people about how you feel. Because they say that problem shared is a problem almost getting to being solved, but don't go through it alone. This is one of the things I'd say to all of you watching right now. So in terms of the business, Tony, how long have you had the business?
It's 10 years now.
Wow. Okay.
In November this year will be my 10th anniversary.
Oh, fantastic. And what have been some of the challenges that you faced? Because obviously coming out of the corporate world, working for the man, and then having to kind of go out and do your thing. What have been some of the challenges that you faced with the business in terms of attracting clients and growing the business really to the point where you are now?
Well, some of that is exactly what you've just said, coming out of the corporate place and working for the man. So the biggest challenge that I've faced over the time is marketing. There's reasons for that. Is that a lot of businesses get referrals.
Yes.
I do now, but I didn't used to get referrals because even when people have been to see me, they don't talk about it. They don't tell. When people are going through this, they don't tell their nearest and dearest. There's a lot of people who come to me as clients and their own partner, their wife, their husband doesn't know that they've come to see me because they don't know what they're struggling with. Because there is still a stigma attached to it and people think there's something wrong with me. And there isn't. There's nothing wrong with people. They're just feeling anxious and they need to do something about it. So getting the word out there, knowing how to market what I do, I found quite difficult. But also when I was 47 years old when I started doing this, Nigel, I started work when I was 16 years old. So I'd been for 30 years, as you say, working for the man. I'd had people telling me what to do. This is your job, do this. And I was good at it. What I found was difficult was, you know yourself, when you're in business, there's lots of things you could spend your time on. You spend your time on marketing, you spend your time on this, that, the other. And so trying to figure out what the right thing to do was. So I guess to sum that up is making the transition from being an employed person to running a business. Yeah.
Because I mean, the thing is, when you are employed, when you're corporatized, as I call it, like you say, you're following orders and they have SOPs. Systems of processes, and it's like this gets done, and it's all very much not robotic, but there's a way of doing things which is effective and works. But like you say, when you go into the real world, and then you've got to try and figure out, well, what's the best method for you? Because it's not just about marketing; it's about how can you market based on your values and what suits the way you want to market. And I say this to a lot of people: if you don't want to be the video kid that killed a radio star, don't do video. Write instead. You can even do video without being on the video. You have these videos where the captions just go across the screen. If that works. But wow, well, 10 years later, sir, you're still here. So obviously something worked. And did you get any help with like kind of getting the marketing in place, or did you just kind of trial and error and figure things out yourself?
A bit of each. I have a friend who's successful in his business. He's been very good at mentoring me. I've spent over the years lots of money with marketing agencies learning out how to do stuff. Business coaches, can't recommend them highly enough. different ways to be honest, kind of figuring out as I went along. If I knew, it's that old thing, if I knew 10 years ago what I know, now. I could do it in a quarter of the time.
You'd be retired now.
Yeah.
Feet up, cohort of therapists under your belt, going out and looking after your clients. But it is, and that's the thing about working for yourself. It's a journey. It is a journey, and it has its highs, has its lows. You run out of petrol every now and again.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's been important in my journey is building a reputation. Yeah. And that's not something that you can do quickly, because I do get a lot of referrals now, but it's not referrals from somebody saying I work with Tony. It's referrals from other therapists and from quite often business coaches, because business coaches have a very close relationship with people who'd been in a similar situation to what I was in. Yeah. They open up and say, I'm struggling with this. And then the business coaches say, well, yeah, I can help you with your business, but I can't help you with this. Go and talk to Tony. Yeah.
And I actually think that all kind of business coaches should join up with someone like you anyway, because 90% of business owners who are struggling, it's because of the outside factors. A lot of them know what to do, but then there's something stopping them. Stress, anxiety, fear of success, fear of not getting any engagement. There's a lot of things for them to be fearful of. And I mean, even myself, I've had clients who have allowed themselves to get in the way of where they need to be. But I'm no expert. But hey, now I can say, hey, speak to Tony Leake. He will help you out. Fantastic. My favourite question, actually, Tony. Tell us one thing about you that not many people know.
You know what? I've been thinking about this, and I don't know how to answer this, because I'm a pretty open person. So people who know me, then they know me. Yeah. And there are some things that I'm quite private about. And I guess
we haven't got to share anything that's too kind of private.
That's the thing. So those things are private. So I guess I'm not sharing the things that. So in order to give you something that not many people know, I don't know how I can answer that, because people that know me know.
No, they know you. Well, what about the people watching? Because none of them will know you. Have you been on TV?
I have been on TV. I was on nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I was on TV many years ago with a band that I was playing, because that's one of my hobbies. I play in a band, play guitar in a band.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know that either. I mean, come on, man, that's revelations. This is
it's not news. It's all over Facebook. It's all over the internet.
Oh, right. So you play guitar?
I play guitar. Yeah.
How long have you been playing the guitar for?
Since I was about 9 years old.
So you're a bit of an expert then. What's your kind of favourite? Is it like classic, rock?
I'm a rocker. The band that I'm playing in at the moment is we're an Arctic Monkeys tribute band.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, we just started doing that, and it's real fun. But yeah, my left to my own devices, I'm a old style rock and blues, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, that kind of stuff.
Well, I love live music, and I think musicians, they are just below godlike status in my eyes, because
we're not at all. We're just a bunch of amateurs having a good time and enjoying ourselves, and hopefully people who come to see us have a good time as well.
Well, you'll have to let me know, because obviously you're based up in, is it Derbyshire?
North Nottinghamshire, Worksop.
Oh, been there many times. I mean, if you ever do any kind of venues in the Midlands, let me know. I'll tag along. I can be one of your groupies. I know him. Yeah. Well, I went to a gig a couple of months ago, actually, and it was a bunch of rockers, old rockers. Most of them had grey hair and it was unkempt, and they were like giving it all that, and it was absolutely fantastic atmosphere. And they played so many kind of classics where you could sing along to. And I thought, I could do some more of this. So you let me know when you're playing at me. I'll tag along. I'll be one of your fans.
See you there.
So for people in business now, or for someone who's probably thinking, I'm going to start a business, what 3 bits of advice would you give them if they were looking to either start a business now, or they were looking to move forward with their business now?
That's a great question. And I've thought about this, and I thought about what would I tell myself if I could give myself some advice when I was starting out. And the first thing I'd say is in the beginning, spend more time reading books about business than about your specialist area. If you're starting out in business, you already know about your specialist area. Now, when I was employed, people paid me because I had a real in-depth knowledge of what I did. And the better I got than everybody else at what I did, the more people would pay me. Right, and so the natural thing was, when I started out, I wasn't getting enough clients. I wasn't getting enough work. So the natural thing was get better at what I do. But actually, the problem wasn't that. The problem, I already knew what to do. I just didn't know how to market it.
Yeah.
So if I'd read the business books early on, I would have had a much better start.
Yeah. Yeah. So seek help as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Is one.
Yeah. And the second one is kind of the same. Pretty much the same thing, is get a business coach as soon as you can afford one, and actually get a business coach 6 months before you can afford one, because a good business coach will be an investment, not an expense.
Yeah. Well, will actually help you to start generating revenue so that they can be afforded.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. And the third thing I would say is figure out how long you think it will take before you can start to take money out of the business, and then double it, because it might take a lot longer than you think it's going to.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I was really fortunate when I started that my wife has a good career, and she was able and willing to support the family. Because if I hadn't had that resource in the early days, I would have had to go back into employment. So basically, do your planning, make sure that you understand that it might take a while before you start generating revenue, and make sure that cash flow doesn't kill you in the early stages.
Oh, cash flow, that horrible word that business owners don't think about until they've got none.
If we don't think about it, Nigel, that's when it kills us. If we do think about it, we might be able to plan for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to just do a quick check, see if we've had any comments. So my phone is out of sync with the video, so sometimes the comments will come in through afterwards. So fantastic. So how can the people watching help you right now, Tony? I mean, obviously, when we finish, I'd love you to go and put all your links into your Facebook, your website, anywhere that people can kind of find out more about you. But how can the people watching? How can we help you?
Well, thank you for asking the question. What I always ask for at networking, anything like that, is introductions to people who are looking for speakers. Think people like yourself, Nigel, people who want podcast guests, radio interviews, any stuff like that, because one of the most effective things that I can do is just generally talk about anxiety. I want people to know that it's okay to talk about it. And the more that we can spread that message of, anxiety ruins people's quality of life. And if people are struggling with anxiety, don't live with that. Don't let it ruin your quality of life, because the good news is that it's not a lifelong illness. It's not an illness at all, but it's not a lifelong condition. It's something that you can and will get over if you go about it in the right way. And so I just want to get that message out. So anybody who'll give me a chance to talk, I just talk. You
fantastic.
Pick that up.
So anyone watching, if you're part of, or you can introduce Tony to any podcasts or platforms that are doing interviews just like this, then please do that. I can think of a few people I can probably refer you to, Tony, actually. So that's fantastic. But Tony, thank you so much for today. We'll have 5 minutes afterwards. If anyone's got any questions for Tony, you can stick them in the comments, or you can reach out to him directly, because he's going to put all of his links in the comments. And absolutely fantastic. Have yourself a fantastic rest of the week, people. And Tony, we'll catch up on the other side. But guys, have a wonderful week, and I shall see you all very soon.